Welcome to the Fantasy Football Prophet Podcast, hosted by Craig Phillips and Jeff Torrey. Visit us at fantasyfootballprophet.com. And now your hosts, Craig and Jeff.
Welcome everyone to the Fantasy Football Prophet Podcast. I'm Craig Phillips, joined as always by Jeff Torrey. And today we're here for another 5-minute podcast where we debate two players that we kind of differ on a little bit and just try to craft our arguments and say why we're right. Today's, it's my DeAndre Hopkins versus Jeff's Doug Baldwin. And if you follow us on Instagram at all, we made a post about this a little bit ago, and I was crushed.
It doesn't feel good, does it?
Just destroyed. It was Doug Baldwin after Doug Baldwin. I don't have the final total, but there was over 60 comments, and I don't even know if Hopkins got 5. Honestly. Really, less than 10. It was less than 10.
It might have turned into the biggest landslide.
It was the biggest
we've had
one
so far.
We did. So what I decided to do was just double down and debate it and say why I'm right. I should have just taken that and be like, yeah, okay, you got me.
I'll let you decide, though. Do you want me to go first, or would you like to...
Go first, Jeff.
Okay.
Go first. I got to think of how I'm going to beat you.
All right. I'm going to set the table as far as how drafts are going so far. Right now, Doug Baldwin and DeAndre Hopkins. Doug Baldwin is ranked 11th overall as a wide receiver. DeAndre Hopkins is ranked number 12.
Right
but
there, yep.
ADP actually has Baldwin going at 14, and DeAndre Hopkins stays pat at 12.
Okay.
So
why is
he's ranked ahead,
why
but he
is he
falls
actually
back a few.
being drafted ahead, but everyone is still picking Doug? Weird.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I get DeAndre Hopkins. I'm not going to go too much into his stats. I'll let you do that. But he did have an amazing year, and then he regressed because of the poor quarterback play.
Yep.
Doug Baldwin, it really comes down to as simple as this. He is much, much safer, and if you were going to take him that early, I want a guy that I know is going to produce, and I think he's just extremely safe. The last 2 years, while in Seattle as the number one wide receiver, he goes from 78 receptions, 1,069 yards, and 14 touchdowns, which, I get it, was crazy high. Regressed a bit, but next year, 94 catches, 1,100 yards, a little more, and then 7 touchdowns. So either way you look at it, incredibly productive, very, very safe. You can play him week in, week out. I think Russell Wilson will actually have a little better of a year than he did in the past, especially passing. So I think you can lock him down as anywhere from could he hit 100 receptions this year? I think that's absolutely plausible. I think he could actually improve on that yardage number a bit. And I think that TD number will probably stay about the same. So I think you're probably drafting the number 10 wide receiver about where he's going right now. And that is why I would take him. Hopkins, maybe a little higher ceiling, but far too risky, especially at that draft position.
You know, out of Doug Baldwin's entire career, what has he played? 6 seasons now? Mm-hmm. He only has 2 seasons that even top DeAndre Hopkins' terrible season last year in yards. That's it.
The last 2, though, right?
Yeah, only 2 of his 6 even top that season.
Yeah. But that season, he was a phenom, right?
Hopkins' top 2 seasons are better than any of Doug Baldwin's seasons, yards-wise.
Without a doubt.
Without a doubt. Here's basically what my argument comes down to. I think Doug Baldwin is a very good wide receiver. I just don't think he's a great wide receiver, and I don't think he has the potential to be a great receiver. DeAndre Hopkins is a great wide receiver. He's a great talent. If he has a competent quarterback throwing him the ball, he is going to have 100 catches. He's going to have 1,200 yards, and he's going to have 10 touchdowns. That's all he needs. He is that good. He is the talent. Maybe I'm just remembering watching Hard Knocks 2 years ago or whatever it was, and how good he was on that show. He was so good. He was so good. I think that's where my Hopkins love comes from, watching Hard Knocks. He was so good. And no, he really is though. I think Doug Baldwin is very good. He's very safe wide receiver too, and as Hopkins can be a top guy. And that's where I think it's going to happen. I think last year's a little blip. Brock Osweiler. Brock Osweiler was bad.
Yes, he was very
bad. Tom Savage, I don't care if it's Tom Savage. I don't care if it's Deshaun Watson. They're going to be better than Osweiler. Doug Baldwin is still going to be good, but I think Hopkins is going to be great. And I just completely made an argument with literally no stats based on everything. But that's my point. That's what I'm going for.
Question. You say if he has a competent quarterback.
He will. A decent.
Do you think either one of those has the ability
to be better than Russell
Wilson? I mean, even look at, and
Are you going to base a Russell Wilson argument when you're a big Russell Wilson fan?
I was like, which year though do you think that it would be? That he could reproduce? Because obviously, I think it's safe to say he's not going to reproduce 2015. Oh, you're really going to be stubborn about this one?
No, okay. What I'm thinking is he can reproduce. He can get to 100 catches and he can get to about 1,200, 1,300 yards, and he can get back to 10 touchdowns. He can get the touchdowns as 2015. I don't think he's getting that 1,500, and he's probably not getting the 111. I can see 100 and 1,200 to 1,300. He had the yards already, 1,200 in 2014.
So hold it. You actually think? Mm-hmm. You actually think he's going to get what? Stat line. What you actually think he can get?
100 receptions, 1,300 yards, 10 touchdowns. And I'm not even joking.
You're out of your mind.
I'm not even joking. I have him ranked too low thinking about it.
Yeah. I was like, he should be like a top 5
he
guy.
He has that ability. He's going to get that.
I'm not doubting he has the ability, but that is crazy production.
It's good production.
Okay, and who's throwing him the ball? You think it's going to be Savage or Watson then?
I don't care.
you're like, screw it. I'm over
matter.
it. He's going to do it.
I honestly think either one of them is going to be better than Osweiler.
Well, okay. I don't think anyone's going to argue on that one.
That's probably my worst argument yet. I'm just going to leave it there. I'm ending it right now as my victory. Basically, it comes down to, I honestly think Hopkins can be just an elite top level guy. Yeah. And I don't think Baldwin has that. I think Baldwin's always going to be a bottom end wide receiver 1, top end wide receiver 2. And I think that's his ceiling.
I agree with you. It's completely a QB play. And I don't care how good you think Deshaun Watson is. Rookie quarterbacks tend not to come out and put up big numbers, even if they're good.
All right, I'll give you 90 catches for 1,300. That's
all right. Even 1,300 is way high.
All right.
But I get where you're going with that. I mean, do you really think he's going to get double-digit touchdowns, though?
I do.
All right. And if that's true, he should definitely be above Baldwin.
Yep.
I don't see that happening.
All right, well, mark it down.
Mark it down. No, that'll be our first one.
All right. We'll be back with more of these. We have plenty more to go. And I think this was probably my worst one because I don't have any.
You say that, but people are right now the average draft position. They're drafting him ahead of him.
Everyone went Baldwin. Maybe I don't know. Crazy.
Well,
we'll see. But when you actually have it in front of you, that's my argument.
Yeah.
You say Baldwin because you know it's a smart thing to do.
Yeah.
When you're drafting and it comes on the clock, you're like, oh, I have to take Hopkins.
I know what you mean. I do know what you mean. DeAndre Hopkins has the tallest ceiling of most players.
All right.
But Dougie deserves to be drafted before him.
All right. And again, that's another 8-minute podcast again. So I think this is now the 8-minute podcast.
Yeah.
So.
It's about perfect.
All right. We'll talk to you guys next time.